What's up with y'all, man? It's your boy David. We back with another reaction video today. I didn't think it could get any worse. By JxmyHighroller. Now with that being said, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about with this one, but let's see, bro. You know I'm always down to watch some new NBA news. You know what I'm saying? And JxmyHighroller is the best when it comes to making NBA news. So with that being said, make sure you like and subscribe. You have anything you want to react to, leave it in the comments down below. Let's get straight to it.
About a year ago, or 368 days to be exact, the basketball world came to a halt as news broke.
Bro, that Luka Doncic trade was so goddamn devastating. To me, I'm not even a Mavs fan, but that shit hurt. I was like, Luka? Really, nigga? And then one of my favorite comments about that trade, it was on TikTok. Somebody said he was supposed to have a statue. Facts. No cap. That nigga, literally the year before this season when he got traded, he literally took them, I think, to the finals. I'm pretty sure. So why he got traded, I don't know why. It was stupid. It was the dumbest decision. But hey, you live, you learn.
That the Dallas Mavericks sent Luka Doncic to the LA Lakers in an inexplicable trade. Not only was this news shocking, but the immediate and justifiable reaction was that this trade was possibly the dumbest trade in NBA history.
Hey, they want this bald ass nigga gone, bro. God damn.
But only time would tell if it was truly the
And then AD constantly getting injured, could not sustain, just couldn't sustain.
Worst trade we've ever seen. Fast forward 1 year, almost to the day, and turns out the initial reactions were correct. Because the Luka trade wasn't just dumb. It is now definitively the worst trade in NBA history.
And Nico really thought he did something with that. He really believed in his heart of hearts that trading Luka was the right move, and I hate him for that shit, bro. I don't even know that nigga. I don't give a fuck about the Mavs.
Today's video is sponsored by DraftKings. Super Bowl 60 is upon us, and DraftKings is ready to get you in on all the action for the big game. Right now on DraftKings, new customers who bet just $5 will receive $300 in bonus bets if their bet wins. That's right, place any $5 wager, and if it hits, you will get $300 in bonus bets. And you can stay...
Hey, I'm falling asleep low-key. These gambling ads make me feel like I can't skip them. I'm fucked up. My bad, y'all. That's on me, guys.
That's promo code JxmyHighroller only on DraftKings. This past Wednesday saw one of the busiest trade deadlines in recent years. After what looked like it was going to be an uneventful week, trades began to pour in from around the league. James Harden to the Cavaliers, Garland to the...
Oh yeah, James to the Cavaliers? What the fuck? For what? I mean, fuck it, whatever, bro. Shit. That nigga James is still low-key on some superstar shit, so I don't know, maybe.
Clippers, Vucevic to the Celtics, Jaren Jackson Jr. to the Jazz, Jared McCain to the Thunder.
I didn't send that nigga to Utah, where the Mormons is at. God damn, I know his ass was lush. He heard a little bit when he saw that shit, bro.
And in the midst of a flurry of trades came this dreadful transaction.
Yeah, the Mavs aren't going to get anywhere anytime soon. Honestly, they're not going to get anywhere anytime soon unless they find a way to get back Luka, but they're not going to get Luka back. And the reason they're not going to get Luka back is because, one, personally, Luka feels betrayed. That's one. Two, the Lakers are not going to give up a superstar like Luka Doncic to get anything. There's nothing they could trade for Luka Doncic at all. You couldn't give them, unless they give them every single first-round pick they would have for the next 5 years. Maybe. But that wouldn't work. They have nothing on that roster that they want, so that's not gonna work. Unless they do a three-way deal somehow, some way. But who knows, man? These trades are always crazy.
The final chapter in the worst trade in NBA history. After a fairly quick negotiation, Anthony Davis and company were traded to the Washington Wizards in exchange for Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley, 2 first-round picks, and 3 second-round picks. An exchange that doesn't sound terrible at first glance, but after about a second of coherent thought, the reality sets in that what the Mavericks have...
They failed. They failed. They gave up their future for a bag of fucking chips. They failed, bro. This is terrible.
Managed to do over the last 12 months might just be
they overestimated AD's availability, bro. Like, no cap.
The most egregious case of mismanagement in the league's history. Because if coughing up Luka for AD in a bag of chips wasn't bad enough, the Mavs doubled down and sent AD packing for next to nothing. Now, Anthony Davis was the bulk of the haul the Mavericks received for Luka last February, meaning that the Mavericks have now essentially traded away franchise icon, perennial MVP candidate, generational player Luka Doncic for this.
And I fuck with AJ Johnson. I think he's gonna be a very good basketball player. But fuck. Yo, what a fucking loss. This nigga's a loser, bro. Holy shit.
2 starting caliber players, 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, and expiring contracts. But a lot of these assets either aren't worth much or were simply add-ons throughout these dealings. Max Christie, Chris Middleton, and Marvin Bagley are the only productive players here. The 2026 first-round pick from the Thunder will likely end up as the 30th pick in the draft. The 2030 first-rounder is a Warriors top 20 protected pick 4 years from now, and the second-round picks are just throw-ins. A complete shot in the dark that rarely turn into anything of substance. In fact, the Wizards spoke about their acquisition of AD and said they were, quote, ecstatic, because the outgoing first-round picks have relatively little value. So the
Mavs just lose. They're just gonna be losing for a long fucking time. Like, this is so dumb.
We condense this down to the real value of this trade, then we're left with this. The Mavericks traded Luka Doncic for a starter, 2 rotational players, and 1 first-round pick. This is not a bad trade. This is basketball malpractice. Reprehensible. A fireable.
No, bro. Like, for this, Nico Harris should have his fucking toes cut off and should be made a paraplegic for the rest of his life for this shit. This is disgusting. I'm not even a Mavs fan. I don't give a fuck about the Mavericks. Nigga, fuck a Maverick. But holy shit, I would be stupid to not say this is an injustice, nigga. This is so crazy.
Full offense. Oh, wait. Compare what the Mavericks got for Luka Doncic to some of the blockbuster trades we've seen over the last few seasons, and you would be convinced that Dallas is actively attempting to be relegated to the G League. 2 years ago, the Nets got 5 first-rounders and a first-round pick swap for Mikal Bridges. In 2022, Rudy Gobert was worth half a roster, 4 first-rounders, and a first-round pick swap. The OKC Thunder built a championship off the back of a singular season of prime Paul George. I'm not sure what universe the Mavericks live in, but apparently it's one where Luka Doncic is worth about as much as Desmond Bane. It's the ultimate buy high, sell low move from the Mavs. Last February, they were under the impression that Anthony Davis was
gonna fucking do as much as Luka. They're crazy.
Comparable value to Luka, his all-NBA level defense and offense.
I'm not saying he's not good. AD is great. Oh my god, fantastic when he's healthy. But this nigga's never healthy. And he's also not as good as Luka. Point blank period.
Versatility potentially being the missing ingredients for what they hoped would lead them to another run to the finals. 12 months later, they saw him as nothing more than an opportunity to clear cap space. Now trading not 1, but 2 all-NBA caliber players in the span of 1 year. In an article detailing the 1-year aftermath of the Luka trade, it was asked, how do the Mavericks move on from the short-lived AD era? Which is a reasonable question. If this article didn't come out 2 days before he was traded, the Mavericks were already moving on from the, quote, AD era while he was still physically on their bench just a year after they traded the soul of their franchise for him. The total value they got out of AD, 29 games played out of a possible 81, only 1 of those games played with Kyrie Irving, 18 injuries, yes, you heard that right, 18, and 16 wins. The Mavericks traded Luka Doncic for 16 wins. On dunks and threes, there is a metric called...
Bro, Nico Harrison should never be given another job in the NBA ever again. And if he is, they should sue. The team who he's working for, the fan base should sue, because that's disgusting.
Called estimated wins that attempts to calculate, you guessed it, how many wins a player helped contribute to their team's total throughout the course of a season. In Anthony Davis's total time with the Dallas Mavericks, he contributed exactly 2 wins. In fact, since the initial Luka trade 1 year ago, the total number of estimated wins contributed by every player that Dallas acquired as a result of the Luka trade is 9 wins.
Okay, then how much did Luka help the Lakers win? Probably a lot, honestly. He's their main piece offensively. LeBron is like his Robin, honestly.
In that same time span, Luka Doncic has single-handedly contributed 12.4 wins for the Los Angeles Lakers. Since being dealt away by an overzealous Mavericks front office, Luka has been more valuable for the Lakers than every other asset involved in exchange for him combined. The Luka trade was so bad that
I'm not even saying don't trade Luka. But I'm saying if you're gonna trade a nigga like Luka, you better get your money's worth and some more.
what they got in return for him was nothing more than a salary dump just 1 year later. Now, these head-scratching and irrevocably compounding decisions would leave you thinking that the Mavericks were desperate for some inkling of success, irrationally quick to make decisions, and unfamiliar with long-term results, which might be true if they weren't here in the finals just 18 months ago.
That's what I'm saying. The nigga was literally in the finals. Like, he was in the fucking finals. He was there. Now, him losing was crazy, but he was there. He knows what it's like to get to that level, and they gave him away for what? For some fucking M&Ms? Like, nigga.
Know the ingredients for a winning team. They've made great moves in the past. In fact, this was their winning recipe. The roster that got them within 3 wins of a...
And they threw that away. They threw that away. This was one of the best teams in the NBA. This right here. And they threw that away. That's tough.
Championship just 2 seasons ago. But out of the 12 players from this finals roster, only 4 of them are currently on the Mavericks today. Dallas rolled the dice and traded away a finals team for a potential long shot to go back to the finals.
Kyrie's healthy, Luka's healthy, everybody else does their job. Ring. That's a ring. That's a ring, my nigga. That's a ring. But no, fuck that.
Dallas's one saving grace, the only thing keeping them out of the depths of NBA irrelevance for the foreseeable future, is of course Cooper Flagg.
I respect Cooper Flagg. He's a good player. Not good enough though, bro.
A player that fell into their lap through no work of their own. A pick they had just a 1.8% chance of winning on the night of the draft lottery, jumping from the 11th spot in the draft to the first pick as a result of the lottery, which, in case you didn't know, is the single largest jump in position any team has ever made in the history of the NBA lottery. If it wasn't for Cooper Flagg, the best players on the court for the Dallas Mavericks organization this season would have been Max Christie and Najee Marshall. Which means that the only thing that prevented the Mavericks from being the worst team in the league with no hope in sight 18 months removed from a finals
appearance. It's a kid from college. You niggas suck.
Appearance was pure, incredibly unlikely, unprecedented luck. At least the Mavericks have found another direction for their franchise. For a second there, it almost felt like they made the worst trade in NBA history.
They did, bro.
As great as Luka is, the Lakers are dealing with their own ups and downs, you know? Luka isn't a perfect player. Anyone could have made the rash decision to trade him away for almost nothing with absolutely no recourse in place. He is, after all, just the 3rd best player in the world. At least the player they traded away wasn't one of the most valuable assets ever traded away in the history of modern basketball.
Bro, Nico Harrison, if we did the medieval times, I'd make sure that nigga had no hands and feet. He's a fucking lunatic. With that being said, make sure y'all like and subscribe. Check out 1,000 subscribers. If y'all enjoy what y'all watch, man, if y'all have anything y'all to react to, leave it in the comments down below. And I'm gonna catch y'all next one we up.